on your personal financial journey and the markets around us. That's Dollars and Cents, Thursday afternoons at 4 here on WSIC.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, good morning. Happy President's Day. Welcome to Thrive here live with the Town of Huntersville. I am Christy Clark, the mayor, and I have a special guest with me, Senator Mujtaba Mohammed, who I have known since 2018 when he ran for the first time. I think that's when we met anyway. And he now represents parts of the town of Huntersville, so I thought it would be great to have him come on and talk about what he's up to in the Senate and have our residents of the town of Huntersville get to know him. So, Senator Mohammed, tell me about why you ran that first time when we met all those years ago. Do you remember where we met?
First of all, I can't believe I can say Madam Mayor. That's amazing.
Thanks.
So proud of you, Madam Christy Clark, Mayor of the wonderful town of Huntersville. So proud to have served with you in Raleigh. I think we served at least 2 terms together. One term. In the General Assembly. So proud to see your continued service to the people of Huntersville now. So it's so exciting to be here.
Thanks.
I think Christy, I met you even before elective office with your amazing community engagement and activism that you were doing, especially with Moms Demand Action against school gun violence and so many other things. So it was so great to join you on that journey in 2018, where I think many of us, that was the year we broke the supermajority after a decade. It was exciting times. I mean, for me, Christy, for the listeners that are getting to know me, first of all, I'm proud to represent the people of Huntersville now in the North Carolina Senate. I'm in my 4th term, serving the people of North Carolina, Senate District 38. I've been a long-time public interest attorney. I work at a private firm now, representing the people as well still. But public education was critically important. Public safety, housing, transportation, critical issues that affect everyday North Carolinians. I've been an advocate my entire life, whether I've been advocating for our young people in the classrooms, whether it's our community and public safety in the courtroom, and now the people of North Carolina, Mecklenburg County, and the North Carolina Senate. Advocacy is important to me, so it's great to be here and join your listeners and to join you.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for your service. I know 4 terms, you have a family with young kids. So I know it's a big sacrifice for you and for them to, continue to serve. What brings you back? I mean, I served 1 term in Raleigh, and it was really hard. It was tiring and stressful, and also a lot of fun. But what keeps bringing you back to service?
Mayor Clark, it's so fascinating. I have 3 children now. My oldest is 11, my middle one is 9, and my youngest, my little girl, Amara, is 5 years old. And my boys were really young in my first term, and now it's crazy. And I'm in my 4th term. My oldest, who's 11, comes up to my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So look, I always say, as you understand, and many advocates, whether you're Republican or Democrat, I think a lot of folks understand that public service is a lot of work. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's not just you as an elected official that's serving; it's your family that's truly serving. And for me, I fundamentally believe that every child, every family, every community needs an advocate for them. And that's what I'm so proud to do, because a lot of the people in Huntersville, in Charlotte, in Cornelius, in Davidson, they can't come to Raleigh every single day. They can't advocate for their community because they're trying to put food on the table. They're trying to pay rent. They're trying to make their mortgage. So it's important to have advocates in your corner that will be your champions. And that's what I'm proud to do in Raleigh, and that I'm honored to get to do that. And that's part of the reason why I continue to do it in Raleigh.
Yeah. So this year is the budget session. Where does the budget start this year?
So this session, the budget is going to be starting back in the Senate. It's the long session now. We always have a long session, as you know, Christy, being in the General Assembly. They just call it a long session now. We're always in Raleigh. But I think the House and the Senate are going to essentially come up with their own budget, of course, like they do every year. They'll negotiate some sort of compromise. We broke the Republican supermajority this go around, so the governor's going to have a significant seat at the table, and is going to be able to negotiate some good things for North Carolina as well. So I'm hopeful for a bipartisan budget that reflects the values of all people in North Carolina, but most importantly, a budget that helps people and makes their lives a little better today than it was yesterday.
Yeah, the top leadership in the House has changed.
Yes.
So is that going to change the budget negotiations this year?
Yes. So we have now Speaker Destin Hall, young attorney. I believe he used to be the former rules chair in the House as well. And I'm still getting to know Speaker Hall. Got to know Speaker Moore a little bit. Now he's in Congress representing the people of North Mecklenburg as well. But I'm hopeful that he'll be a great team player and be able to provide real solutions to the people of North Carolina. So that's going to be exciting to see this new figure. I will tell you, though, Christy, Destin Hall, Speaker Hall, actually came up with a calendar for once where we can actually see when there might be committee votes, where there might be floor votes. Families can actually plan vacations and personal things for once. So I'm hopeful that Senator Berger, who's the president pro tem of the Senate, that we can also come up with a transparent schedule. Because I think it's critically important, especially for advocacy. If people want to come up to rally and advocate for whatever issue that they're passionate about, they need to know when they can come up to rally to do that.
Right. And
good governance.
Yeah, that is something in the past. There's never been a real set schedule of what was going to happen when, and so you just kind of had to go week by week, and
we're always in the dark.
Hope for the best, and show up and do your hard work, and you would never really know when you get to come home or not. But
when you serve in the legislature, don't plan anything.
Yeah.
You never know when you're going to
don't plan anything.
Christy, speaking of my children, I almost missed my daughter's birth.
Oh my gosh.
In my first term. She's 5 now. Because at that time we had broken the majority. Everybody wanted to know when I was going to be in the Senate, when my wife was going to have our baby. And some folks wanted to know so I wouldn't be there potentially so we can override the governor's veto. So
right. Yeah,
it's so difficult to even plan anything with your family serving in the legislature.
And those kind of shenanigans happened on both sides of the aisle, no matter who's been in charge, right? They would always try and
It's unfortunate.
It's
bad governance. Again, these should be bipartisan policy issues where we, the people, can understand when their government leaders are meeting, when they're working on pieces of legislation. We should be able to look at bills in advance so we can figure out does this bill truly benefit the people of North Carolina? Does it truly benefit the people of Huntersville? Or is it potentially harmful? And I'm sure we're going to talk about this later, but there's legislation we've seen recently where a lot of local governments are having issues and concerns about, but that's because things are added last minute and there's not enough transparency.
Yeah, people always ask me, like, is it true when you served in the General Assembly, would you get a bill at like 3 a.m. and be expected to vote on it in 5 minutes? And I would always say yes, but those times, sometimes we'd have to call timeout. Like, it's 3 a.m. There's no way we can read this bill and understand it. It's not, it's not something I can put my vote on with a good conscience because it's the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So
it's not a good way to operate.
Not a good way to operate, but it does happen, and we understand that happens at all levels. Government, well, maybe not at town government, but town government's a little different. But and I do set the schedule at town government.
I know Mayor Clark doesn't operate her
I do not.
Wonderful town that way.
No, we don't have late night. Although some towns do have, they go for hours and hours into the wee hours of night, and we try to be pretty efficient around the town of Huntersville, not just for the residents who are watching, but for our staff who've been working all day. So we are coming up on a commercial break, and so I hope that you will stick with us. We have more fun with Senator Mohammed. I hope you will come back and continue listening with us.
Sit tight. We'll be back with more after this on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
Well, there comes a new week and a cold week at that. Winter temperatures start to come back. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures only around 50 for our Monday afternoon. We'll get a little warmer. Low 50s for your Tuesday with increasing clouds, but tracking another impactful winter storm likely on the way to the Carolinas as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. We'll fine-tune the details of what we can expect around Lake Norman as we go throughout our Monday. More to come. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Greystone Lodge in Boone.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Thursday, February 20th is a fundraiser for Soul to Soul's Connection at Rio 150 in Mooresville. Eat out on Thursday with Rio's Mexican food menu, and a portion of all proceeds go directly to veteran and first responder mental health problems. Your participation will help stop the stigma. Eat out at Rio 150 Mexican restaurant in Mooresville on Thursday and help raise funds for veteran and first responder mental health programs. Join the Statesville Chamber of Commerce on Thursday, February 20th for a night of celebration and recognition with the annual SAGE Awards for Statesville area growth and excellence. The event honors individuals and organizations that have made significant impacts on the community. The SAGE Awards begin at 6 p.m. Thursday at the Statesville Civic Center. Visit statesvillechamber.org for your tickets. Saturday night, Fortune 5 returns to the 500 Club in Statesville. Fortune 5 won the Battle of the Bands in 2024 and now bring their infectious energy to Statesville. Check out the Fortune 5 concert at 6 p.m. this Saturday at the 500 Club. Extreme Experience was founded with the goal of making the world's finest exotic cars accessible and to drive new Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Porsches on the world-class racetracks. Extreme Experience provides the safest and most educational approach to drivers and passengers who wish to experience the thrill of the world's most exclusive cars. Book your Extreme Experience now at 866-273-7727 or visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for more information. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Merlefest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, The Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Floors, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, The Warren Treaty, The Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
All right, we're back with more from the Town of Huntersville on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
Well, welcome back to Thrive Here Live with the Town of Huntersville and Senator Mohammed. So one of the things that happens when you serve in Raleigh is you get assigned committees. And so the committee work is an important part of your day. What committees are you on this session, this biennium?
The committees is where all the work that happens.
Yeah.
It's a really important function of the state legislature. I wish more bills went through proper vetting through the committee. Instead of just popping up on the floor or in a conference report. But Christy, this term I'm on, of course, judiciary, where I do a lot of my work, being an attorney related to justice and public safety and so many different issues that touch different aspects of our life. I'm on transportation as well. I know that's really important to Huntersville, my good friends in Cornelius. I actually asked to be on that committee so I can get much more involved in these issues that are affecting the people in North Mecklenburg, elections. We've got ethics committee. I mean, there's like 8 or 9 different committees, but looking really, really forward to working on anything and all that affects people, especially healthcare is another area that I'm back on again, which is really important to me, the rising cost of healthcare, figuring out ways that we can work in a bipartisan way to bring change to people's lives. I always say no cancer diagnosis or a car wreck or, as aging and certain health issues popping up should never bankrupt somebody. It should never become a burden where you're trying to make decisions about your life, about how you're going to pay for groceries or your rent or your car payments, and then trying to figure out how you're going to take care of your health care. So that's a travesty. So the more ways we can continue to figure out those positive issues in North Carolina, that's what I'm trying to do in Raleigh.
Every biennium kind of has a theme or a topic that's going to be like the hot topic of that biennium. What do you think the hot topic is going to be this year? I mean, y'all are just getting started up there, but has there been a kind of a signal from leadership of what the hot topic is going to be this year?
Mayor Clark, I think the biggest conversation we continue to hear about is what happened in Western North Carolina with the hurricane. Obviously, a lot of communities were devastated over there. So we're already hearing a lot of language about, well, we got to be careful about what we're looking at the budget. We might not have enough funds to go around. Well, we would have enough funds if we actually prioritized our budgets and had budgets that reflect our values, and the biggest corporations paid their fair share, so we can actually give genuine tax breaks to working families, which I'm for, and I know you're for, to support our law enforcement communities, our school social workers, our educators. That's where we would get the resources to fund some of the critical issues in our state. But I know hurricane's going to be right there. I know there's some conversations in the Republican caucus about casinos. You're potentially going to see that. But remains to be seen. We're still early right now in the General Assembly, so hopefully a lot of good things can happen out in the public in the committee process. So you, the people that are listening, can be engaged and informed and involved in the decision-making process. But now in my 4th term in the Senate, we still have to get to that stage.
Yeah, well, Western North Carolina, I know, is going to be a big priority. My school has adopted a school over there, and so we've been sending them supplies and support as time's gone on. So I know like that'll continue at the local level as well. And of course, casinos. You know, that is something I don't think I ever would have predicted in a million years that the state of North Carolina would be building new casinos and legalizing sports betting, but I was here for it when I was there in Raleigh, and so we'll have to see. It'll be exciting.
Well, one of the big issues about the casinos is, though, Mayor Clark, is that look, a lot of these casinos will probably be in rural parts of our state, but the reality is the people that are going to be going to these casinos, where they're going to be coming into Mecklenburg County, they're going to be flying into our airport at Charlotte Douglas Airport. We already have significant congestion there. That's what I'm looking at, is, again, looking at the logistics of it, looking at support for our roads and our highways and our airport, especially if this ends up becoming a reality, because this is definitely going to bring more traffic to our region and our area.
And what about you? Do you have any specific items on your to-do list this year, any bills that you're going to be actively working on?
So one of the biggest issues that I'm deeply concerned about is, look, I try to be real and practical about how I serve in the legislature. I'm always focused on how can we make people's lives better, even if it's nominally, because as many of you know, people that follow what's happening in Raleigh or Washington, D.C., government moves at a snail's pace. Mm-hmm. So I try to figure out ways that can make people's lives better. One of the issues that I've been working on for the past couple of terms, and we've been able to make some progress, is related to court fees and fines. So there are hundreds of thousands of North Carolinians who ride on our roads, who drive on our roads. They don't have a driver's license. They're driving uninsured simply because they're indebted to our state. This is where I believe that government's in the way. We need to be able to get out of the way and get people housing, get people decent jobs. It's a public safety issue. So court fees and fines, a lot of this money doesn't even come to our state's coffers anyways, but there's people out there on the roads driving. So Senator Britt and I and some of the other Republicans have worked on legislation related to license to work, getting people lawfully licensed on the road so they can get jobs, so they can get housing, support our law enforcement through good public safety. So I'm going to continue to work on that. And there's going to be some other pieces of legislation that we're looking at, but remains to be seen.
Yeah, I just saw that Mecklenburg County's DA had asked the county for more funding. And what do you think the possibility is more funding for courts at the state level? I know that's always kind of a contentious point of when the funding and the dollars start getting allocated.
So, Christy, this is the most frustrating part, and I think our constituents will understand this. In Huntersville and Cornelius, all of North Mecklenburg, look, our property taxes continue to rise because our county and our towns continue to do the job of the state, which is unfortunate, and it's not fair. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, I think everybody can agree. The state's really got to step up, whether it's supporting our educators, whether it's supporting our courts, our jails, our local law enforcement communities. The counties and local government cannot continue to foot the bill and do the job of the state. This is why I continue to say we need to have budgets that reflect our values. And time again, we're not seeing that happening. And there's more that the state needs to do. So I would urge folks to reach out to your elected officials, especially in parts outside of Mecklenburg County, elected officials in Cabarrus County, Gaston County, Union County, because these are our regional friends, and advocate for our region. Advocate for the funding that we need related to housing, transportation, so many needs that the state needs to be met. And this is going to ease your property tax burdens because hopefully, let's not hold our breath, the state can actually step up and do its part, which they need to do.
Yeah. I mean, that's something the budget around the court system is always a hot topic, especially around here. As North Mech is trying to get a magistrate to kind of like a telehealth type situation, but it'll be with a telemagistrate up in North Mech, and it's been allocated in the budget, but you still have to have the resources to make that happen, and so that's something we're constantly working on. And that's for folks who in the middle of the night need to get a restraining order and can't drive down to Charlotte because of various things, kids and work, and car doesn't work, and different situations. So we definitely understand that up here in North Mech. So what about that I am a teacher? I work in a public elementary school.
Part of a public servant, always.
Yes, always. And so what's the talk around teachers and education in public schools this year? Goodness. Or schools in general?
Look, I always like to say, I mean, there's a lot of folks that like to argue about, like, we're 41st in public education, we're 43rd. For me, that's embarrassing, right? For the people that live in our state or work in our state, your children are growing up in the state, North Carolina should be a no-brainer. We should be number one when it comes to education. Now I know parents, they want the best. As a parent, you're a parent, we want the best for their children. So whether you want to take your child to a private school and you can afford it, that's great. Whether you want to put your child in a charter school, that's your decision. But either way, we've got to be able to support our education system. And again, here's another aspect where the General Assembly continues to fail and not doing enough. We've got to be able to prioritize, because this means jobs. This means an economy that's ready to thrive, especially in a state that continues to grow. We're number one, number two. I think we slightly fell behind, I think, Virginia most recently in number one for business. But North Carolina's right up there. I think Mecklenburg County, we're getting 120, 127 people a day moving to the region. That's tremendous growth, and with growth comes needs. So education is definitely going to be one of the key points. So I've worked in the past couple of years on simple issues, especially with COVID. We saw a lot of our kids, a lot of the mental health struggles that our kids had, a lot of the isolation, and getting more school psychologists, more school social workers into our school system. We finally, in a recent budget, were able to get at least one school psychologist in a school district, which we never had. But those are the areas that we need to support, because we expect so much from our educators like yourselves. We expect you to teach our children. We expect you to be a G.I. Joe in the classroom. We expect you to be the moral compass, the comfort, and so many different things. We're expecting a lot out of our educators, but we're not providing that same return and that respect. So education is that tremendous return on investment that we can get if we focus on it.
Yeah, so I hope there will be some aspect of that in our upcoming budget. You know, Huntersville is the 16th largest town in our state, which is a pretty big number, and we're rising in our population, and so you could see that reflected in our classrooms as we have students enrolling every single day, and so they're getting more and more crowded, and so that is an interesting aspect of that. And
I remember how crowded our schools was because I went to high school in Huntersville. I went to North Mecklenburg High School, so I'm a proud Viking. I mean, it was pretty crowded then, but it's gotten even worse now. Yeah. So again, the support's needed. It's critical.
There's a new North Meck High School on the books. Our town planning department has been reviewing the plans with CMS, and so coming up very soon, there'll be a new North Meck High School. It'll be amazing for our students to be in a high school that does not have a bomb shelter from the 1950s. And so that'll be an exciting day for our students when they can actually say, hey, we're in a school that was designed for the time we live in and not the time that our grandparents lived in. So we talked. You kind of hinted at a bill that's kind of moving around, an issue that's moving around, the down zoning situation. Yes. So when I was at the Metro Mayor's Conference earlier in the year, we met and I said, who made this problem? And the mayor of Durham raised his hand. And so we're about to go to a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about this down zoning issue and the impact it's had on municipalities. And I can even talk about specifically in the town of Huntersville. And so stay with us. We are about to go for a commercial break, and we'll be here when the time is right. Thanks.
Sit tight. We'll be back with more after this on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
Well, there comes a new week and a cold week at that. Winter temperatures start to come back. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures only around 50 for our Monday afternoon. We'll get a little warmer. Low 50s for your Tuesday with increasing clouds, but tracking another impactful winter storm likely on the way to the Carolinas as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. We'll fine-tune the details of what we can expect around Lake Norman as we go throughout our Monday. More to come. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Johnson's Parts and Supply, your Auto Plus Auto Parts store for 42 years, carries a full line of Wix filters for cars, trucks, and all types of heavy-duty equipment. Johnson's Auto Parts, your Auto Plus Auto Parts store, 1112 Shelton Avenue, Statesville. Make your work easier with Eagle Rentals of Troutman and Statesville. Eagle Rentals has generators, heaters, fans, painting equipment, floor care equipment, pressure washers, lighting equipment, and lawn care equipment. Plus, Eagle Rentals has construction equipment like forklifts, bobcat loaders, backhoes, excavators, and more. Reserve online at eaglerentals.com. That's eaglerentals.com.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
At Kane Center for the Arts, we believe art is for everyone. From our exciting performing arts series and gallery exhibits to robust education programs and impactful community initiatives, there's something for everyone. Visit canearts.org.
Inspire your team and gallop to greatness. Our horses at Willow Equine are outstanding at working with people on leadership and team building skills, perfect for corporate retreats. Visit willowequine.com as you gallop to greatness.
Number one for talk in Lake Norman, Statesville.
105.9, 100.7, WSIC.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. In early January, the U.S. Surgeon General under President Biden announced a link between alcohol and 7 types of cancer, and that had a measurable impact on at least one non-alcoholic spirits business.
We've seen a huge growth in our sales.
Runway Chang is the CEO of Abstinence Spirits.
Our top-selling SKU, our Blood Orange Aperitif, is actually 2 to 3 times our volume from even the holiday season in December.
And that's not typical even for the typical dry January, which is the peak month for the business. Researchers have found that young adults who abstain, even for part of the month, are more likely to moderate their alcohol consumption over the rest of the year. Spread across age groups, the market potential is enormous.
93% of people who buy non-alcoholic products also buy alcohol. So we're really, rather than seeing people who are abstaining in total, we have people who are, making moderation choices.
Tracy Jonke, Bloomberg Radio.
Who is this? This is 105.9, 100.7.
WSIC. Local starts here.
All right, we're back with more from the Town of Huntersville on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
All right, welcome back. We are here on Huntersville Thrive Here Live with Senator Mohammed. When we left, we were talking about this down zoning bill that passed. And so we can, the mayor of Durham has taken credit for that passing in the legislature last year. And that bill is one that prevents municipalities from changing their ordinances around zoning. And that also is how it's impacting the town of Huntersville, is it prevents us from editing our current zoning ordinances. So we have some uses that might appear in our zoning that we don't want there anymore, and because it doesn't fit what we want Huntersville to be, and so we are prevented from removing those. So what is going on with that? I saw several bills have been introduced, and it's been a hot topic with the League of Municipalities.
Yeah.
What's going on with that bill?
So again, I think these are very common sense bipartisan issues, Mayor Clark. I think it starts with transparency. This is what I'm talking about at the state legislature. We need to have these committees. We need to meet. We need to discuss. We need to get public input. Legislators need to debate, have dialogue. A lot of these legislation shouldn't be just written in a back room. It shouldn't be just be written by some special interest organization. That's why bad things end up happening. And that's what you see here with Senate Bill 382. It passed right at the end of the last year. The bill was supposed to be a hurricane relief bill, which had a lot of unrelated items, specifically stripping the governor, incoming governor, Governor Josh Stein, of some power, the incoming attorney general, and then you had in Senate Bill 382 legislation related to downzoning, which again, here's Raleigh telling local towns like Cornelius, Huntersville, how to create their communities. I don't think, and I think listeners will agree, I don't think Washington, D.C. understands North Carolina well, and I certainly don't think Raleigh understands our local communities the best. This is why we need to rely on our town commissioners and our city council folks and our board members and our mayors to decide what's best for that community, because the local governance is closest to the people. And with downzoning legislation you have is basically you are tying the hands of local government to figure out what's best for their communities. If you want to make an area less dense, this legislation now requires the consent of property owners in order to do that. That's going to create a significant issue when it comes to all sorts of development. And I think that's what the problem is, because now you're tying the hands of local communities. So take, for example, imagine an area is zoned for highway commercial use, gas stations, convenience stores, and you want to now make that into a retail restaurant establishment. You won't be able to downsize that. Imagine if an area is zoned for retail restaurant and you want to zone that area into a single family housing residential area. You won't be able to do that. The legislature has effectively tied the hands of you, our local leaders, in order to make those decisions that is best for you and your community. And that's the problem. When legislation is rushed and things that are written and people don't think about it and see what's in there, these are the consequences that we see. And it's not the first time this happened. You've been in the General Assembly. This is not the first, probably not the last bill that we will ever see. I will say the good news is I think the Republican majority and Democrats working together have caught this issue and realized that is a significant issue for a lot of our local governments, and we need to return the power back to the local governments. So you're going to see some legislation coming through amendment processes to hopefully right that wrong that was previously done.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be really good. We, the town of Huntersville, have, we're trying to grow our downtown. Has been the main focus of my term so far. And so we want to have the right things in downtown. And one of the things in this general zoning that would be allowed would be like a gas station or a car dealership or car repair shop. And, if the town of Huntersville, we just removed a gas station that was on the corner of Statesville and Gilead Road because it was something we didn't want there anymore, and we needed that space for a turn lane. And so now we're trapped again with having this opportunity. Now, we don't think the property owners are going to want to put a gas station in there, but they can. And so, but we want to make sure that use is not something for our downtown area. It's something we're trying to grow and be an area where families can come and enjoy themselves, and people can come for, date night and celebrations, and not necessarily to get gas. Although we do have a member of our town who works on our staff who told me the other day that he really misses being able to go next door to the gas stations and buy a Coke and a lottery ticket. And so I told him, like, okay, we'll find you somewhere to do that. There is, but we do need, we want to make our areas thrive. And I know Huntersville's not the only one.
I think a lot of your listeners would agree, limited government. If you genuinely believe in that, then give the power to the local government.
Yeah.
And that's what this does. Hopefully, through this amendment process, we can return the power back to the people as it should be.
Now, the big hot topic in Mecklenburg County has been for almost about 5 years now, has been the red line. Yeah. Will the red line happen? And so the city of Charlotte has purchased what was the O line, owned by Norfolk and Southern. It goes all the way up to Mooresville. And so now the next task is, how do we fund building that line so that we can have a commuter type rail from North Meck into Charlotte and back? And there's legislation that's been being kicked around for that, to appropriate a 1 cent sales tax. And that will come, if it passes in Raleigh, it will come before the county commission. And then if they allow it to go on the ballot, then the voters get to decide if it will pass or not. And so that's an important aspect of that legislation, is if it passes, then it will come before the voters to decide if we're going to go ahead with this red line. And so recently I saw Senator Vicky Sawyer said the bill's a long way away from being passable. And so what are your thoughts on this red line bill, this legislation?
Look, I think this is one of the most exciting things, the biggest game changers in our area in a long time. It's going to be really, really exciting. Being able to connect our community in Mecklenburg County from uptown Charlotte all the way into Mooresville. It's going to be great. I have it right here. I mean, this line is a 22-mile track. It's going to be able to connect with stops starting at Hambright in Huntersville near Veterans Park, Huntersville near Sanford, Cornelius Catawba Avenue and South Main Street, going to Davidson, Jackson, and Depot Street. And then, like we said, Mooresville going into the Lake Norman Regional Medical Center area. That's huge. That's being able to connect North Mecklenburg's to the rest of our metropolitan city to be able to go to football games, art shows, work in so many different ways back and forth. I think all the way from Mooresville going to Uptown is about a 45-minute travel with stops repeatedly. Most of these stops are going to be probably in my Senate district. I think one of the stops goes to Senator Sawyer's district. But I think our local towns want it. This has broad bipartisan support across political party lines as well. There's focus on this sales tax referendum that we have to get. We have to get the General Assembly to approve this 1 cent tax referendum. It's almost $19 billion that's going to be invested in our communities. 40% of that money, 40%, just like former Speaker Moore wanted, now Congressman Moore wanted, it's going to be focused on our roads. 50% of that money is going to go to Huntersville, Cornelius, Matthews, these smaller towns, which is going to be huge. That means access to, again, jobs, housing, with all the significant growth that we talked about. That means access to your local grocery stores, just convenience, access to hopefully good quality public schools. It's going to be a tremendous game changer. We just at the General Assembly just need to have the willpower to do it, especially because it's what the people that want. So send it to the people in a referendum. The General Assembly has to okay it. I will say Senator Sawyer is taking the lead on that, being in the majority in the Senate side. You have Representative Cotham as well, and Representative Becky Carney on the House side. So the four of us were really working together in a bipartisan fashion to make this a reality.
Yeah, I mean, the town of Huntersville will get about $11 million for roads from that. And so, for us, that is really significant as we have so many projects going on in the town of Huntersville. We're trying to get people connected. We're trying to connect sidewalks. We're trying to build new sidewalks. That was the number one thing that I heard about when I hear about is where are the sidewalks in the town of Huntersville, and this would help with all of those things because anytime you build a new road or widen a road, you're also going to add in a side path or a sidewalk with it.
Whether you drive, whether you like to bike, whether you like to walk, whether you like to get on a bus or you want to get on light rail, this will benefit you.
Yeah.
So I think that benefits all the above.
Yeah, so it would be a game changer for the town of Huntersville for sure, especially that area around Veterans Park. We have events there all summer. We regularly have events, even during the winter time we have events going there. And so having people be able to come easily access those events will be something will be really significant
for us. Think about the
us.
traffic congestion that we can relieve. If people hate the tolls, think about that. Yeah. So there's some great positive aspects to it. And like I said, it's been a long time coming. So I'm thankful that we're getting closer and closer to it. Hopefully the General Assembly does the right thing.
Yeah, Mayor Rusty Knox always says we can't pave our way out of congestion, and that's 100% true. We have to find other ways to get from point A to point B. And so this red line will be something that's on that list of things. We're just actually launching up here soon. We'll be launching microtransit, which will be kind of a speed version with minivans. For folks in certain areas of towns of Huntersville, Cornelius, Davidson. It'll be really interesting to see.
So do folks actually understand what that is? Because it's amazing. I think I actually saw you, Mayor Clark, post on social media about that.
Yeah. The microtransit is you'll be able to go on the CATS app and request a ride in a certain area of the Huntersville, Cornelius, Davidson, and then you'll be able to go from like point A to point B, kind of like a little mini Uber. It'll be like, I think it's around $2 or a little bit more.
Significantly cheaper than Uber and Lyft.
Yeah.
Same aspect.
Yeah.
You'll get around.
Yeah.
Locally.
So it'll be instead of taking a long time to do the village riders, which people were doing before, it'll be much faster to get from point A to point B, and less expensive, of course, if you have to take an Uber. So
we're trying to get the people to thrive.
All right, so we are up on another commercial break, and I hope you will stick with us. We have some more fun topics about the General Assembly and things happening there. Be right back.
Sit tight. We'll be back with more after this on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
Well, there comes a new week and a cold week at that. Winter temperatures start to come back. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures only around 50 for our Monday afternoon. We'll get a little warmer. Low 50s for your Tuesday with increasing clouds, but tracking another impactful winter storm likely on the way to the Carolinas as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. We'll fine-tune the details of what we can expect around Lake Norman as we go throughout our Monday. More to come. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Thursday, February 20th is a fundraiser for Soul to Soul's Connection at Rio 150 in Mooresville. Eat out on Thursday with Rio's Mexican food menu, and a portion of all proceeds go directly to veteran and first responder mental health problems. Your participation will help stop the stigma. Eat out at Rio 150 Mexican restaurant in Mooresville on Thursday and help raise funds for veteran and first responder mental health programs. Join the Statesville Chamber of Commerce on Thursday, February 20th for a night of celebration and recognition with the annual Sage Awards for Statesville area growth and excellence. The event honors individuals and organizations that have made significant impacts on the community. The Sage Awards begin at 6 p.m. Thursday at the Statesville Civic Center. Visit statesvillechamber.org for your tickets. Saturday night, Fortune 5 returns to the 500 Club in Statesville. Fortune 5 won the Battle of the Bands in 2024 and now bring their infectious energy to Statesville. Check out the Fortune 5 concert at 6 p.m. this Saturday at the 500 Club. Extreme Experience was founded with the goal of making the world's finest exotic cars accessible and to drive new Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Porsches on the world-class racetracks. Extreme Experience provides the safest and most educational approach to drivers and passengers who wish to experience the thrill of the world's most exclusive cars. Book your Extreme Experience now at 866-273-7727 or visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for more information. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Merlefest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, the Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Floors, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, the Warren Treaty, the Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
Craving a taste of Italy? At Palmadoro's, we serve up scratch-made comfort with every bite. From our hand-tossed pizzas to classic pasta dishes, it's the perfect place to gather your family or just treat yourself. Visit palmadoros.com for menus and hours. Your table's waiting.
All right, we're back with more from the Town of Huntersville on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
All right, welcome back to Thrive Here Live with the Town of Huntersville and Senator Mujtaba Mohammed. One of the things that I've been hearing about a lot from my constituents in the Town of Huntersville is the energy rates. Everyone noticed a really big jump up in their natural gas rate this year, and I know this always is a big hot topic also during the long session in Raleigh, as the utility providers usually come back and ask for a change in rates. And what's on the schedule this year? What do you think is going to happen with that?
Again, my friends that are listening out there, a lot of these issues aren't political. They're just basic common sense issues, and folks need to pay attention to it because the people that you have out there on these boards and commissions, like the utilities commissions, they make decisions that affect your pocketbook directly, like your energy rates. I saw it myself in my recent Duke Energy bill, for example. Look, I think the conversation is going to continue there. Sadly, with the growth that North Carolina is having, the potential needs that our infrastructure has, and the corporations that provide these services, they continue to say that they have increasing needs. At the same time, we see their profit margins drastically increasing and their executives getting significant bonuses. Who's losing out is the people, is my concern. So a couple of years ago, North Carolina legislature, they authorized multi-year rate making for the Utilities Commission as well. For example, Duke Energy, to make these rate increases. It's a problem. I think we need more transparency. We need some more accountability there, and we need to make sure that the right people are appointed to these boards and commissions. Again, this is where you, the people, have an opportunity to influence your legislators, influence your governor about who's being appointed to these positions because they directly impact your pocketbook.
Yeah, and that's something I noticed when I was in Raleigh too, is that energy rates are a big deal, and how they're determined, who sets them, and the people that are on those commissions are appointed by different groups of people, but the General Assembly is one of those people that puts individuals on.
The General Assembly, and they've shrunk the number of people on those boards and commission as well. So some terms have expired. Some folks might not get reappointed. So there's a lot of politics in your energy rates.
Yes, everything is political, right?
Yes,
so the other thing we hear a lot about is so we have lots of big projects going on in the Town of Huntersville. The hottest topic around right now is an addition or an additional remodel to the Burkdale Village area, and people are what I've heard the most about is our infrastructure is not prepared for this. And so the North Carolina obviously does infrastructure in a different way than some other locations. And part of that is the way we fund roads. And so what I know have less funding going into that budget for NCDOT every year, especially as cars get more efficient and we have more electrical cars. And a hot topic has always been, how are we going to fund roads? What are we going to do? How are we going to change it? Do we have any proposals this year? What's going to be on the top topic for that?
Well, the main one on the agenda is the sales tax,
Yeah.
the referendum that needs to be authorized. Again, like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be significant funding for our roads locally, right here in Cornelius, Huntersville, Davidson. It's going to affect you, the people, tremendously. So it's a positive gain. But again, with the hurricane that we recently had, Christy, as you know, in Western North Carolina, surely does have its needs. I mean, what we've been hearing is we're going to potentially have a very tight budget. We don't know what the asks are going to be. I know they want to continue to grow their rainy day fund again. But these are tough questions that we're going to ask. Again, with the growth that we're having, we're a hot area. There's tremendous growth happening. Everybody's coming to North Carolina. They're coming to Huntersville. They're coming to Cornelius. They're coming to Charlotte. So these needs need to be met. So the General Assembly has to make tough decisions. And I don't think it's that tough. We have the resources to do it. But I think we need to be able to make those tough decisions to fund these priorities, because this is an actual investment that we're going to get a tremendous return on if we do it right.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand the way that we in North Carolina fund things or build infrastructure is we kind of build it after the fact. The need is there, and then the road then scores available to be redesigned or widened after the need is there. And then you start on the project, and it will be several years once a project is started, and it starts with land acquisition for widening the road and moving utilities, and those things go on. And so we don't... if we choose not to build something today because of waiting for the road to be built, that thing may never get built because the road projects get pushed down the line. They get kicked down the line over and over again. Like when I was in Raleigh, the widening of Samford was a topic. I met with some local residents about it. They were kind of expecting it to start soon. It got kicked down the road. We're now being kicked down again. I think to 2028 is when the start will happen. And so that's something that, goes back to like, how are we funding roads in the state? And I do hope that 1 cent sales tax passes because, it hopefully will set the model for other areas around the state that have even less access to funds. And then maybe they can copy that model in their areas too. The smaller rural areas don't have, the same kind of access to funds like we do in Mecklenburg County. And so hopefully they can replicate this and do more for their roads there.
Earlier we talked about the red line. I mean, that was decades in the planning, right? Mm-hmm. So these projects take time, and now you have to figure out the way to fund it and pay for it. So I think leaders like yourself and our local leaders are thinking in the right direction, that if we have the good forward thinking that we need to have, we can fund these projects correctly in order to avoid the congestion and a lot of the issues that we're going to have in the future if we do it right.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal for the town of Huntersville for sure, as people are frustrated about the traffic. I'm sure you probably hear about it as well. All right, so when I was in Raleigh, I used to always joke that the House of Representatives was like the wildlings on the other side of the wall in Game of Thrones, and the Senate was kind of like the noble class. And so what's your take on the difference between the House and the Senate?
Well, look, I've only been in the Senate since my public career in public office. Got elected in 2018 to represent the people of Mecklenburg County, now in my fourth term. We're 50 state senators. We're a smaller group than you guys in the House. Look, I think they're both interesting. They have their good and bad, I think. At least in the Senate, based on what I hear from my friends in the House, the Senate is much more formal. I think we're a tighter group, whether you're in the Democratic caucus or Republican caucus, but as a Senate family as a whole, I have great relationships across the aisle with senators like Senator Vicky Sawyer, Senator Paul Newton, people that are neighboring legislators, and that's only because we get to know each other. It comes down to dialogue, Christy. If you're able to talk to one another and have conversations, you realize a lot of the issues that you care about, Republicans care about as well, Democrats care about as well. We're all very much the same. People get caught up in stereotypes. They get caught up in the social media on X, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is, and they get caught up and they get into their bubbles. But what I love doing in the state legislature is being able to talk to people who are from my same party or the other side of the aisle. And you really find out you have far more in common than that divides you. We all care about public safety. We all care about decent, safe housing. We all care about good jobs, tax cuts for working families to help families make ends meet, figuring out the cost of groceries and inflation, so many different issues. So that's where I like to focus on my time at the legislature. I'm not somebody that's out here looking for 15 minutes of fame, likes, tweets, or you're not going to hear me yelling and screaming in the General Assembly. But I like to just roll my sleeves up and work with my counterparts to make people's lives better. And I've been able to find that vehicle in the Senate. I'm sure there's folks from both parties that have been able to do that in the House. It all comes down to how much, what type of work do you want to do? You got to ask yourself, why are you in Raleigh if you're not going to do the work?
Yeah. It is definitely a little more informal in the House, and a lot, everyone gets to express their personality a little more because there's more people, and so more people means more personalities, and I always, it's a fun place to be when you have all those personalities.
I know you guys have more floor speeches because everybody wants to speak.
Yeah,
politicians love a good mic.
Yeah, they do.
In the House, I think.
That's the joke, right? Never give a politician a mic.
I think in the Senate, our sessions aren't as long. Like I said, we're pretty much in and out. When you have those controversial bills that you're going to be there for a little while, you probably get maybe one or two or three speakers on those bills. But we're pretty, for the most part, we're in and out. Like I said, you have a good relationship. Whenever you're a smaller group, it's easier to communicate and figure out what's going on and what's happening.
Yeah, and you can give somebody the side eye from across the room, and they can see you, so they know we're in the House. That room is really big; you can't see it. Absolutely. All right. So far in your fourth term, what has been the thing that you are the most proud of accomplishing in Raleigh?
I think the biggest thing that I'm really, really proud of is honestly being able to be that advocate and bring those voices from different backgrounds and different communities to the General Assembly. Being able to show people, my name's Mujtaba Mohammed. I'm different. My name might be different. I'm a Democrat, but I care about the same things you care about. To my Republican colleagues, I'm here to make your lives better, not just for the people in Mecklenburg County, but for all constituents. So I'm proud of things like I talked to you about being able to support our justice system and our law enforcement community and our courts and jails. There are different aspects of my time at the legislature. I'm proud of my ability to do more in our public school system with school psychologists, school social workers. Making sure our children get their nutritional intake that they desperately need so they can learn and thrive. But it's been an exciting time getting to know everybody, working together, and I'm hopeful that if the good people of North Mecklenburg allow me, I'm planning to continue to do this for a significant number of terms until I'm allowed, because I really enjoy. I'm one of the younger members of the legislature.
Yes.
A lot of our folks are, Christy, you've been there, probably 60 plus. Many of them are extremely independently wealthy. They've got the ability to be at the General Assembly, but many of us, especially the younger members, we have real families. I've got a full-time job where I actually practice law, and I've still got to be in Raleigh to be able to advocate for my community. So there's some struggles into it, but I really, really enjoy it, and I'm honored that I'm able to do it.
Yeah, I think we appreciate your service. I know how much of a sacrifice it is. It is a time commitment that is hard to explain or hard to understand, but it is also a calling and something that you believe passionately about, and we appreciate your service there. And thanks for being with me today on President's Day. And hearing about what the town of Huntersville is concerned about and all those issues that we are facing, and I'm sure we'll be in touch with you to talk about that. So thank you for being here for Thrive here live in Huntersville. We appreciate your time. Please be back with us next week at the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you.